culture. For Tom, it was his way of life. I do not believe that there is one person here today that has not shared this category in some way or form with Tom. Raise your hand if you ever camped with Tom, traveled with Tom, or even rode a roller coaster with Tom. Have you ever worked with Tom? Stood up and spoke with Tom? Now, raise your hand if you ever touched by Tom. What a common experience for so many people to have. I apologize because I can't say I have so many, but Tom did. Sometimes in life we get 60 minutes with a person. Sometimes we get 60 months. And sometimes we get 60 years. How lucky I was to have him in my life. How lucky you were to have him in your lives. And how lucky we were to have him in all our lives. I love you. But, wait. How I would love to hear that again. Diego?
Hey, can you guys hear me okay? I'm Ron Burnham, and I only met when they started harassing Thomas so much, we decided to just silence them. And every time they gave us a line of BS, Thomas was the embodiment of a public citizen. He was exactly what Ralph Nader had in mind when he founded public citizen 50 years ago. And Thomas was exactly what John Lewis was talking about when he encouraged all to make good trouble. I only met Thomas 4 years ago in the Better for U.S. Senate campaign. I'm wearing that Better t-shirt from that campaign in honor of Thomas. You can extend it to this year's election as well. He was constantly in and out of the 8th Avenue Beto office. It took me a month of trying to get to know him before I could slow him down long enough to have a 5-minute get to know him conversation. He was just constantly involved and busy and running all around. Probably put thousands of miles on that red pickup that I'm letting inside. What I did not know 4 years ago was that Thomas had long been a public citizen and a good trouble kind of guy, activist. Over the next 4 years, he drugged me into more good trouble than I've ever wanted to get in. And, you know, I treated my share of good trouble. Even in his death, he got me to go speak at the County Commissioners Court and City Council meetings this week. His death has inspired the birth of the Torlincasi bodyguard collective. Hey, those of you who are in the collective, somewhere around here. Part of Thomas's work was protecting a lot of other people. So we created this collective to protect people like Daniel London and Thomas and other advocates of the First Amendment who are harassed and abused by local law enforcement personnel. I'm certain if the person that is sitting next to you don't know and nobody else knows, that's probably that out of uniform law enforcement officer here to harass us. It wouldn't be the first time I was at a gathering where it was those kind there. No, you wave your flag when I say good behavior. You get the gist. Okay, so now while I love Thomas better than my brother, Charles just irritated the heck out of me on many occasions. Some people nodding their head. Lots of other, and lots of people here, and more importantly, elected officials. I joked at City Council meeting the other night that while Thomas may have irritated them in 3-minute increments on a regular basis, he was my neighbor and he thought I was on call 24/7. Okay, we're getting down to the bottom here. It doesn't blow away. I really only knew Thomas in his political life. I barely know Angelica, and I never really met any of his biological family or friends from here to this lot before 2018. But in these 4 years, I've gotten to know the person, Thomas Torlincasi, his strengths and weaknesses. He was a good and caring person. He did not just work in political campaigns or help found the Water District Accountability Project or help ally with people trying to hold the CHAD accountable or defend people that are working on police accountability. He was simply a very good person. It's sometimes irritating. A person that had the best of for all. Like most of you, I miss him very much, and I'll just end with this thought. I hope, like me, you feel a strong duty to honor him by continuing his work.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brenda Daniels, and I'm here to speak about Thomas the Toastmaster. Thomas loved Toastmasters. He was a friend to everybody that he met. He was an encourager. He wanted everybody, no matter what their project was, to be their best. And he showed us how to be the best. We heard a lot about Thomas's passion, about his activism. This man believed in his problems like nobody I've ever seen. No politician in charge of any political entity. He believed that way down to at city council meetings. We taught him how to present his ideas and his thoughts clearly and in a certain amount of time. He and I used to joke a lot about the fact that I have an Aggie son-in-law. You haven't lived and had in Tarrant County. Loves you the way. So what he told me he had a light in the darkness. Please be careful. And his parting words to me were, Brenda, the next time I need somebody watching my back, I'm going to call you because you can scare them off. Please never forget what he brought to all of us, what he brought to his family, what he brought to the woman that he loved, what he brought to Tarrant County, what he brought to the city of Fort Worth, what he brought to the state of Texas. Never forget that. And he has left us to carry on his campaign. And I challenge you today to honor his life by carrying on.
very first project, and this was back in like 94 maybe. When we moved into the building, the water in the water fountain smelled funny, looked funny. Nobody had the tasted funny. And so Tom got the girls to campaign to get this fixed. They tested the water in the building. They tested the water down at the creek on the prairie, and in the bog on the prairie, and in the spring on the prairie. And then wrote up their research and did their comparisons, ending with that it would be safer to drink from sycamore. So Tom knew where to go next. He had them present to the water department, the health department, Fort Worth ISD, letters to the structural group. We identified all the wildfires. We did circle graphs. We did the number and all kinds of statistical stuff. There were wild turkeys and counting, doing something that takes the girls away from their daily problems. Many of these girls, they're outside with water. They share this. So that now, is predicted and is widely known throughout up from the prairie. To our campus. A 7 months pregnant 8th grader climbing the fence. No, not the opposite way. This student demonstrated what we were trying to teach these girls. He said, you don't have to stand outside and wait for someone else to open the gate. And that was his approach to these students who really needed this help. Tom was many things: a dreamer, a thinker, a builder, a dancer, an entrepreneur, a yarn spinner, a provocateur, a brilliant teacher, and a dear friend. And though he sometimes stirred the waters and had been known to burn a bridge or two, he truly often a bridge over troubled waters. We miss you, Tom, and I noticed there's a quarter moon up here that you can see, which Tom would be pointing out to. Thank you.
Wow, what an awesome looking group of people. I mean, I'm going to try to figure this out. This must be the political side, which I love, because I love that about Thomas. And this must be the Toastmaster side. That's where we started at over here. So we're awesome. But anyway, this is wonderful. So, first off, my sincere condolences to the family and to his friends. For Thomas, my name's Adina, and this is my husband Butch. He lived with us for a while. He was a coach to us in Toastmasters, the best we could ever imagine. He had the best stories. He could tell us great jokes. My family loved him because my family fits this crowd right here. My mom and dad loved him. So they were like, you got good friends. And so that was always great because he spent Thanksgiving twice with us and Christmas once. Birthdays, our birthdays are 4 days apart, same year we were born. So we had a great time together. And he would come in, and when he met this beautiful woman over here, this guy lit up like a Christmas tree. Yeah. All he could talk about was her. And then he came in looking for a special box, a special wrapping paper, a special bow. And he goes, does this look right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it was so much fun to see him go from a single life to
a life where he found love and he found peace in his heart, and he can continue to do the work he loves with a woman that he can share that passion with.
That sounds good to me, ma'am.
That's all I have to say. But for Tom, we have that special turkey. We have a turkey in our house that he named Tom Turkey. It's a stuffed turkey that sat in his room. He wanted it in his room, and he came over with another little turkey that he hung up on the wall in the room that he used to stay in. But he had his own room called Tom Turkey Room. So anyway, Tom's there for you.
My name is James Smith. I'm a resident of Fort Worth, Texas. Some of you know me from television, the news, about my neighbor being murdered by the Fort Worth Police Department. Thomas read a better article and followed this story and followed me. Numerous times I went to the city council. And Thomas being Thomas sought me out. He came to my home and approached me and asked me if it was okay to talk. Sure, it's okay to talk. As we were talking, the chief of police pulled up. He didn't normally stop to visit me, and I haven't figured that out, but the chief of police used to visit me. And Thomas said, "You want to leave?" No. He stayed, the chief came, and we talked. Long story short, the chief ended up getting me sick, which made me realize the power that Thomas had with me. I was downtown protesting for the Tatiana Jefferson. And I met Manuel Martin. And the two of us stood outside that courtroom pretty much most of the day. And Thomas saw that live. And the next day I looked up. Manuel hadn't got there yet, but I looked up and here comes Thomas, coming from the commissioner's court. He asked me, "You been here all day?" I said, "Several times." "Have you eaten?" I said, "No." "I'll go get you something to eat. What do you want?" I'm like, deer on the head, like nobody just came up and wanted to feed me. So he walked off to go get me something to eat. He came back. He brought my lunch, he set the sack down. And it was a sack from Hooters. So I've never been to Hooters, and I wasn't thinking about the lunch, I was thinking about the sacrifice of people make it healthy. He went to Hooters. But I wrote a short poem for Thomas. I'm going to make it three. I'm talking to the city council in 3 minutes. But I wrote this short poem for him. I stood where he stood many times, addressing the city council meeting of the mind. His approach was smooth and to the point, brought accountability into the joint. If you could walk a mile in his shoes, you would see he brought actual facts and information, not clues. There's a void in the city of Fort Worth that may never be filled. I'm so glad to have known a man that kept it real. And last but not least, I'm hoping that as he traveled the city and all the numerous places that he went, that he threw out some seeds, that some of you will grow from his seeds and continue his work.
Right.
My name is Manuel Mata, and I just want to thank Thomas for finding me where he found me, and showing me that the way I think and the way I deal with things don't always get me what I want. Because I was taught to match the type of things that were put against me, aggression, violence, and all that. And he told me that the biggest threat to any institution, a person, is truth. So for a person not to deal with truth means that that person is less than me, no matter where I come from, what neighborhood I live in, how much a paycheck I get, right? Because I always told Thomas that people don't accept me, they don't like me. where I'm from and what I look like. This man stood hard in a hot truck that had no AC sometimes, right? And he taught me how to be able to talk without using vulgar language and being able to express my aggression, my frustration, my anger with words. Because he told me sometimes words are stronger than any action I can do to these people. And the thing that he taught me was read and understand what I'm reading. Because they took something special from me. You know, I don't have a dad. I don't have somebody I can call and be like, look, Pops, this is what today's like. That's what Thomas was for me. You know? And I always had a problem with authority figures. Ask anybody who's watched my YouTube channel. But he was the only one that I would let correct me, tell me I was wrong, or I was looking at it the whole way. You know? And to me, like, I wanted to stop doing this a bunch of times. But what he told me, it's bigger than him and it's bigger than me. Because what he did was brought a whole bunch of broken people that didn't trust the government, didn't trust police, didn't trust people, period. And he brought us all together to fight together. Because when they separate us, that's when they win. And look at all these people here. Look at everybody here, right? None of us would hang around each other if it wasn't for Thomas. None of us would have met if it wasn't for Thomas. So I'm going to continue. I promised him I would stay out of trouble, but I would become a better man. Not only where I can articulate everything specifically what I'm saying, because it's my turn for the commissioner's court and the city council, right? Because I bring facts, numbers, and statistics, and that's what they hate. Feel me? That's what he taught me. He taught me to expand my vision because I was tunneled. I was stuck on Fort Worth Police Department, proving that they're shady, they're corrupt, but he took me somewhere else. It's like I was stuck on the little wall, but he took me to a plateau that I would have never reached without him. He brought me into contact with all these people that don't know me, but because of Thomas, they said he's a good person, because Thomas believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say they took somebody special, not only for me, for all of us that are sitting here. You know what I'm saying? He showed all of us, but, and that was my most frustrating word with him. Because I was trying to tell him my point. He's like, yeah, but. And I hated that. But what he was doing was making me smarter. Because I was able to see where the sneaks are, where the snakes, where they're going to come from, how they're going to get it. We had this conversation about who was going to go first. We agreed it was me. We agreed because of how I get down, how I'm not going to back down, and they're going to have to hurt me, you know? And it's like, I'm glad that we're able all to be here together to say goodbye to this wonderful person. Because he showed me and he gave me faith in humanity. That's why the first time I went, I said, I'm for the human race. Because Thomas taught me to erase the line. Because that's what I drew, a line where nobody could cross. He was the first one. And he told me to believe and trust in others. Because we're all fighting for the same thing. Accountability, transparency, and change. This man lived his whole life for change. And I'm going to continue where he left off because he told me not to say this word. That was my dad. And I figure it's only right that I keep going. Because that's what he would want. He wouldn't want none of us to stop. Nothing. He built this team, this group for this specific thing. Each one of us has our own little special skill, investigation, irritation, whatever you want to call it. We all have our different little sets, skills, and standards. That's why he made sure we all ended up meeting each other. It sucks that we had to meet in these circumstances, but he wouldn't have wanted it any better. So in memory of Thomas, I would like to tell everybody, you know, he brought us together to show a bigger picture. And that's my plan. Because Fort Worth police accountability is bigger than me and him. It involves all of us. And that's what he preached. Thank you. Yeah, you don't have 3 minutes.
I only have 3 minutes.
No, you don't have 3 minutes.
I'm planning on speaking. I'm gonna make it short. Yeah, Thomas touched on, everybody covered it. You couldn't say more. I mean, it was Tom's stuff. The only thing I want to say is that when I wake up on the other side, if Thomas is there, I'm okay. If city council's there, I've done something wrong.
Hey, greetings to everyone. Alrighty, my name is Adrian, and first and foremost, I do want to give honor to God for this beautiful day. It is a beautiful day, despite why we're here. You know, it's a beautiful day. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I also want to say to the family, the loved ones, the friends, like it's been stated, condolences, love to you, strength to you. Miss Angelica, did I say it right? Thank you for reaching out. I'm pretty sure she reached out to many of us, but thank you for reaching out via messenger. We're here. So, my name is Adrian. But my knowing Thomas started back in 1970. No, my knowing Thomas began with my desire to serve the people of Fort Worth as a council member. And I took that initiative back in 2021. I've always had a desire for service. You know, I love helping people. I just love service. And it came into full-fledged reality when I put my name in for council. So that took off. The relationship with Thomas started through a relationship with someone else, Miss Carrie Hines. She has a platform that she uses to address things that goes on in Fort Worth, and she's been doing it for a long time. And it's called Let's Talk Fort Worth. Any of you have ever heard it? It's a great show. It's called Let's Talk Fort Worth. So Carrie used her platform to allow the candidates on, you know, of course, to give our spiel on why we want to serve this, that, or the other. So fast forward, things were taken off. Then she would have other shows throughout the political spectrum where we would come on and just, you know, just talk, you know, talk about issues. And that's why I first heard Thomas. Real articulate, he loves to share ideas. He never shot down anybody's thought. You can say something. I've been on platforms, you know, say something and somebody try to come behind you to clean it up for him. But Thomas always allowed you to be you. And he never tried to trump you with his intelligence. Smart dude. Woo! Real smart dude. But he always kept it intact. So, never knew Thomas. Never seen him. But when we got to a council meeting one time, I had that, what they call it, epiphany. Said Thomas, Torlincasi, spoke. I said, oh, that's when I first had my first, that's Thomas. Okay, now I know who he is. So of course we continued on through council meetings. I was able to attend various ones. Basically heard Thomas, Bob, Mr. James, various others, you know. I don't want to talk too much about the council because they didn't give Thomas the due diligence, you know, in acknowledging him in his path, as it was stated last night during Carrie's show. So I don't want to speak too much on them. We got them in check. But Thomas was he was a go-getter, and he was someone who, like they say, lit up a room, kind of, you know, just you had to get right. Thomas was in front of you. And before I take my seat, I took some nuggets from a lot of the speakers. I was listening, but I took some nuggets from you all. And this truly the first speaker, Thomas calling out BS, calling BS what it was. Thomas calling BS what it was. The second speaker, Miss Brenda, him letting his light shine in the midst of darkness. That's one thing about it. The Bible teaches us that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. See, our problems are not with each other physically, but it's that within a person. they got something nasty within in them, you got something good, they gonna be uncomfortable. So letting your light shine is that. It's spirit being in you. You got a right spirit, they got a wrong spirit. I don't have an issue with you, but it's that spirit in you that don't like it. So that's what Thomas was up against, a lot of bad spirits that didn't like the light that was in him. The third speaker, his desire to bring out the best in others. When she spoke in regards to the ladies that they taught, young ladies, trying to bring out the best in them, showing them something different other than what they knew. The fourth speaker, what love, because she put the light on me, Angelica. What love will do for you. What love will do for you. The couple, I alluded to the things Thomas did for that woman. The fifth speaker, making people uncomfortable. Making people uncomfortable. And we know Thomas, hey, wasn't Thomas, what they were dealing with as individuals. The sixth speaker, being willing to embrace difference. Mr. Lyon, we were from two different walks of life, but we had the same passion. And Thomas said, you know what, you good, just keep doing what you're doing, but you because they're more going at you because of how you give out. But I can help you make that better to where they can't fool with you. Because you got to, Mr. Mata he got to go, he got to know, but they don't like that. And then the last speaker, Mr. Bob, the seventh speaker. Did I get the seven? Keep going. Keep going. The fact is, just keep going. We're going to miss Thomas. Again, I'm grateful to be here, grateful to know him in the time that I've known him. Going to carry on, going to keep pushing forward and keep doing this thing for the betterment of all. Thank you all.
Can you hear me? Great. So I'm Bruce Miller. I'm a retired physicist. And I can tell you that at my favorite physics conference, they do not let me speak for more than 5 minutes. So, some of you may recall that Fort Worth had a race and culture task force. And they made 22 recommendations to the city. A few of them they actually approved. One of them was that the city should have an independent redistricting commission when they went from 8 to 10 districts, as has happened for the 2023 election. I never really knew Thomas at all. I used to go to Lon's lunches and met him, and Lon would give you the opportunity when you introduce yourself to say a few words about what you were interested in. So when the city council pushed back against having an independent commission, a group of us started meeting to figure out if we could push back against them. And Byrick is here. He was one of our, Byrick Ellison, one of our initial members in our small group. So when I mentioned this at Lon's lunch, Thomas picked right up on it. And shortly after that, Byrick and I were going out to Como. They invited us out there to give a talk and explain to their neighborhood association what redistricting was all about. Thomas showed up, said he was coming. We wanted to make a video. He showed up. He brought his phone. He made a video that I think you can still see it on our Facebook page. Something. And he showed up pretty much at every city council meeting afterwards with a message for them about redistricting. We really appreciated him. We're sorry he's gone. And we're sorry for all of you and especially his family. Thank you. Thank you.
I met Thomas on, I think it was June 10th. I was at the appraisal district fighting, and it's been all over the news for That's where I met Thomas. Actually, I met Thomas before it was on the news, and he was the guy sitting to my right, and that was the first day I met him. And to me, that just speaks volumes. I've had so many friends, and growing up in high school and family, and he's the guy sitting next to me. He had met me the first day. That was the first day I met him. And to me, that just says all you need to know about Thomas is he didn't know me from Adam. You can see that there's every kind of person here. He didn't look at the exterior. He didn't look at any kind of label that you can put on somebody, whether it's a demographic label or a belief or a political label or whatever. It doesn't matter. What Thomas saw was there's a problem. There's somebody being hurt. There's something going on where somebody needs somebody to stand up for him, and he was the guy. He was just said, "I'm going to do it." He brought Manuel, and I swear to you, that speech that Manuel gave is one of the best speeches I've ever heard. That was amazing. I didn't get a chance to tell Thomas that I was actually in Toastmasters, or else I wouldn't be standing up. And my default answer, if there's ever a time there's an opportunity to stand up, my answer is yes, because I know if I don't have that as the default answer, I'm not going to stand up. And we just never got around to talking about Toastmasters, believe it or not. It's kind of crazy. But I got to tell you, Manuel, you got a talent, and we saw it today. All the other stuff that you've done, I mean, here's the last thing that I want to say. There's two things. One is purpose. This is what Thomas is all about. It's a purpose. There's a reason why he's doing what he's doing. Here's the personal stuff that people are standing up for stuff. And they didn't have all the skills, or maybe they need to level up a little bit. Maybe they just need a nudge. But I mean, I tell you what, I don't know where Meg was before that June 10th, because that's when I met him the first time too. He's standing there right alongside him. But man, it's just incredible to see what you can do. The power of the words, the power of standing up, the power of standing in purpose, and the force behind that is a love for somebody or something. And that's not a message that we can carry on. I mean, I don't know what is. That's the message of Jesus. That's the message of anything good and respectful that we all admire that lasts through generations. And this is something that's going to live far beyond Thomas if we pick it up and carry it. And I think that for me, one of the saddest existences I could imagine is living without purpose. And if you live with purpose and you do it with love like that, Thomas doesn't die. Thomas is living on. He's living on through all of us. And what he stood for and his purpose is going to continue on. And who knows what Manuel or any of us are going to do. But I would say I hope I live a long time. I hope I do. But if I don't, if I live a long time and I don't leave like Thomas did with something like this going on, it wasn't worth all those years. Him leaving way earlier than I wanted, man, if I can't speak for him, he's not here. But I would much rather live for a purpose like that and with that kind of love and have people be able to say these things. There's just nothing better than that. So, thank you, Thomas.
My name is Jackie Cox. Can you hear me? Okay. I knew Thomas because he and I showed up regularly at the Tarrant Regional Water District, watching what they were doing. And one of the things that kind of comes through what's going on at the water district has something to do with what Mr. Krause is doing. There is a machine that operates to raise our property values. And some of it goes on at the appraisal district. Some of it goes on at City Hall, where they keep financing new construction and pushed us into a real estate bubble like one can hardly believe. It's going to be hard for us to afford our taxes going forward, because our taxes next year are going to be based on highly inflated prices that were part of the real estate bubble that is now, for the city of Fort Worth, focused on trying to raise property values in East Fort Worth and down around Panther Island. So, we got some work yet to do. And we need to keep watching them. We need to read what they post before their meetings. We need to think about it. We need to call Chris Nettles, because he's the guy who now is going to move maybe out front on the city council. But it isn't going to be simple. And it's going to take lots of dedication. It's going to take the purpose that Mr. Crouch was talking about. But our purpose has to be to figure out what they're doing to us, call them on it, and try to do what we can. Okay, what I said is figure out what the government is doing to us. Read their posts, study their numbers, flush them out, call the press, and do what we can. It won't be simple, but it's worth the fight. Thank you.
Great.
And thank you, Thomas, for getting us all together.
That paid political announcement was free of charge. I want to talk about Thomas in a different light. I moved into a home in Fairmount, a couple of blocks from Angelica, and I posted on the Facebook page in Fairmount that I needed a teenager that I could pay $10 an hour to carry some boxes upstairs into an attic. And Thomas responded, and I said, well, great. He shows up, and he's a full-fledged man, right? He's not some skinny little teenager. He carries these things up and carries them up. I had my father's estate, my mother's estate, and a home that I came from 4,600 square feet to 1,800 square feet, and I walked through a pathway of boxes. And he helped me sort these things. And then after he did that, he started painting the house. And then he started caulking. And then he broke some of this wavy glass that to replace it was a $45 pane. And he's putting it in, and I'm saying, well, maybe let me go inside and hold it on the other side for trash. That's Thomas. You've got to be mindful of my money. And because there's not a lot of it to finish this. And he goes, oh, I know. Okay, well, let me go do it again. I go buy another piece. Wavy glass is expensive. It's a 1908 house. You want to replace it with comparable glass to keep it historical. I'm way over that now. Past it. If anything breaks now, it can be a regular glass, maybe a grade up, but it's like I'm beyond that. But what was so, this whole time that this all went on, he discovered, I taught journalism at Pasco High School, and I enjoy reading the newspaper. I used to have multiple newspapers, and so we clicked, right? We had many discussions about Angelica. Many, and I'm going, well, that's not the way women think. Well, of course, that's what she would say. What's wrong with you? Could you read men are from Mars and women are from Venus? What does it take to understand a woman? It's not much. You know, you could read it in a week. So I don't know how it went for you, Angelica.
That's true.
5 years. I see it was that long. I guess I helped you out a little bit, and then I met her and fell in love with her. But the end of my story is, I happen to have a friend who is, all of that worked out. For 6 weeks, Thomas showed up. I paid him $10 an hour. He was in my house for 5 days. He talked the whole time. I would call my friends and say, I think I'm having PSETD, whatever. I said, nothing's on in the house. I think I need to take a nap. But through it all, I got an education. And I began to understand. And it wasn't until he started talking about manual, and I have an automatic click on when he goes live, that I began to realize he's right. Our police officers are punishing our neighbors. I sing in this blues. I know I don't look like I sing in a bluegrass band, but I do. And there's a song, it's a ridiculous song that says, you don't love God if you don't love your neighbor. And in Fairmount, the street people are our neighbors. And we make sure they don't freeze to death, and we make sure they're fed, and we make sure we take care of our neighbors. And Thomas handed out money. He was not a materialistic person. I wish I could be that way. But he handed money out, and he helped people. When I met Mata, he went live. I saw the brutality of what's happening, and this is a free paid political activist thing. But it is Thomas. That's what he is. And that is what, if you're not interested in it, financially help a neighbor. Just pass out some money. And you don't know the stories of people on the street. If you've got $10 in your pocket, or go send it to a political party of your choice. I think I probably know what your political party is. Anyway, I adored him. I still cry about him. Don't know how long that will last, but I just really think there should be some sort of monument or a plaque or somewhere in this. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Walter Horton. I really didn't know Thomas real well. I was beginning to get to know him. I've known him increasingly better in the last few months. About a week before he passed, I had about an hour and a half, 2-hour conversation with him, and it was probably one of the most interesting, fantastic conversations I've ever had. Really what I want to say is I had the highest regard and respect for Thomas. When he passed, we left the meeting with Jared. And as I thought about it, I realized that also all the time that the same
It's kind of appropriate that we're here in Benbrook because our family's kind of started in Benbrook when Japan signed the surrender. Mr. T was on the boat. Sitting down with Mr. T, talking to him, later on in life, I realized, maybe unknowingly, Tom got his ability to gab from his dad. You know Tom, he was just going on with all kinds of stuff. Tom had a lot of gifts. I realized his gifts when I first met him. Over the years, all these gifts, seeing him. Like I said before, our families, including this young man here, my next door neighbor, wound up being a surrogate brother. We always say about Tom and Al Justin and my other friends, we always hung out together. We're all brothers from different mothers. We always seemed to be hanging out at each other's house eating a lot, which you can tell we're good at it. But with Tom, when I first met him, I met him in Boy Scouts. Thomas looked the same when he was 12 and when he was 32. He always had that boyish look. He hated that boyish look. And later on, as you look around his picture, you can see a kind of evolution how he looked. And at one point, he had a big giant mustache. And he had that mustache because everyone kept on carting him on clubs. So he was sick and tired of being called a little kid. Well, he was no little kid. He had they called him a big brain. He had a big brain. When you, a conversation, like what y'all been having today, everything that you guys have been talking about, it just touches upon the stuff that we as family have known about Tom for years. And I'm happy that he got to share these gifts with everybody. There's a couple of things that I thought about when I got the call from Tanya. Obviously, for everybody, it was a shock. Still a shock. Tom was my go-to guy when I had a question about something. Didn't matter what it was. It could have been construction, could have been government, could have been, whatever it was. I called him. Hey man, give me a little bit about this. Maybe pick your brain. And invariably, he would tell me 20, 30 minutes, big conversation about what I asked him. I mean, not more information I really wanted to know. I just wanted, like, where I can buy this stuff? So I know he was talking about it. Anyways, so when I met him at Boy Scouts, I was starting out, I think I was 13, he was 2 years older than me. Maturity-wise and intelligence-wise, I was bigger, smaller. Thinking back of all the times that Tom's path has went. Everyone has to forge their own path and find their own bliss. And I realized just sitting there that a lot of the stuff that I was going to, my path, kind of mirrored what Tom was doing. He was in Boy Scouts for a long time. I was in Boy Scouts for a while. He showed me the world of, we used to do volunteer work for the Monthly History Association. And for years, we go to summer camp and take care of children. They were wheelchair ambulatory, and we spent a lot of time doing that. And by watching Tom and how he interacted with everybody, it was a template for me on how I should do it also. One of the things I'm reminded when I was in Boy Scout with Tom, Boy Scout did this motto. I remember I was old now, so I remember, but essentially goes, a scout is the that was the standard for me, what a man should be. Those things you follow. And Tom was one. He was the first example that I have somebody to fulfill those. Maybe he didn't hit every single one, but he kept most of them. So I'll tell you a quick story of how, even young, how smart he was. And even some of the ideas that he had weren't exactly what I wanted to follow. I'll give you an example. We were camping not too far from here, about 10 miles that way. And the day before we got to the campsite, it was in winter, but it was a beautiful sky, beautiful sky. Well, that night, we had put up a tent. It was a Tom's 5-man tent. Didn't have a floor, so we put it on the ground, and there was 5 of us in the tent. So we all had our sleeping bags. We all, hunkered down. In the middle of the night, the cold front came in. And oh my God, it was cold. I mean, just brutally cold. It was so cold, all the water froze. All the canteens froze, the water jugs froze, the river that we had, Kevin Vine froze. Cold, very cold. Well, the first thing we do in the morning is get up and make a fire so we can have breakfast. It's too cold. Too cold. We didn't want to get out of the tent. So as we're sitting there shivering in our sleeping bags, Tom had a brilliant idea. He said, hey, so we need to go outside and try to fire. And I'm like, well, screw that. It's cold, man. I'm staying here. And our hands were just too cold. cold. We didn't have heat gloves back then, and we didn't expect any cold weather. He said, look, what we'll do is we'll go out and do a relay. One guy will go out there, get some firewood, come back to the tent and warm up. The next guy will go out there and break it up, put it in the fire pit. The next guy will go out there and light it up. We'll just go back and forth. That way all of us aren't out there freezing our butts off. And some of us can stay in the tent and warm up. I said, that's a good idea. I said, my hands, they won't move. He said, well, look, put your hands either down your pants or in your armpits and warm them up. And one of the kids didn't hear it all. He goes, I'm not putting my hands down your pants. I said, no, down your own pants. Well, I'm not doing that either. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, as we were thinking about it, Tom had another brilliant idea. He said, look, instead of us having 5 sleeping bags, let's lay 2 in the bottom, we'll get inside and put 3 on top. That way we'll get warmer. I said, okay, I'll do that. I'll try it. We're in there, so you know, better if we also that way you warm up. I was like, no, we're not going to do that. So we finally go out and make a fire. And he winds up, you got a couple fires going, got warmed up. They got better. It was a good day. So that's the kind of stuff that Tom would come up with. Weird ideas. He had another one. He was in college. He bought this that blue, ugly sedan. He bought from a government auction. Ugliest blue car you ever seen in life. It's like a Plymouth something. The time when you look in TV shows, old 70s shows, this old government car going across, ugly tires, ugliest car you ever seen in life. Well, Tom had scholarship to go to A&M. But he didn't have a whole lot of money, so he had to make his dollars stretch out. So Tom was trying to figure out a good way to make the gas mileage on his car last longer. So what he did was he read about it, read about combustion engine, read about carburation, and he figured out that the way to do it was to atomize the gasoline coming out of his carburetor. So what he did is somehow or another, he got a little bitty small, tiny mesh of wire and put it around the jets for the carburetor, so when the carburetor hit it, he would spread out and make tiny droplets of gasoline that make it more efficient. And as he was showing that to me, I'm like, holy crap, that's pretty damn smart. And I told him, do this, maybe you ought to talk to somebody about this invention of yours. But it just amazed me that when, like we had, y'all were talking earlier, you find a problem, you had to figure it out, what it was, and you went forward and came up with a solution. And that was Tom. You know, in life, he went through, had his gifts, and he helped a lot of people. Sometimes you don't know he's helping people. One of the things that Tom did for me, a couple of years back, my brother passed away. And the day that he passed away, I told the story to Tom and my brother had came down really quick sickness, and he had an infection in his heart, and he got sick pretty fast. So we had, I think it was a pavilion on the other side set up for my son, who had just graduated high school. And on the Sunday that he graduated on Friday, on Sunday we're going to have a big party. 150 people are going to be there. Going to be there for graduation. About 4 or 5 boys. We're going to celebrate the graduation. So I was in charge of cooking and organizing with some of the parents. So when my brother got sick, I was at the hospital, and Tom knew this. And Tom called me, and this gentleman called me, and he said, "Hey, we got your back. Just let us do it. Don't worry about it. Keep your thoughts with your brother, and we'll take care of it." So that afternoon, Sunday morning, my brother did pass away. And then after I came to the park, they didn't know what was going on. They just knew there was a graduation party. And I wasn't going to certainly bring them down about telling what happened. But there was this guy, and there was Tom, and there was this griddle, and they were just getting after it. And they helped me out, they helped set it up, they helped take it down. But that's the way Tom was, and you guys know that. He was there to help you all the time. That's one of the things that I would look up to as a friend, that if I needed something, it didn't matter if I hadn't talked to Tom in 10 years. I just called him. He was there. You know, whatever he needed. Not only did he be there, but if I had more solutions, he'd get more help. And I'm really happy that I'm hearing all these stories about Tom that tells me that his gifts have spread. I'll tell you one last story about Tom that reminded me when the young lady here was talking about Tom and teaching. I knew that he'd been teacher that I didn't know where. And I was living in, 8th Avenue in Fort Worth. And I was driving somewhere down 8th Avenue, going to do something. I forgot what it was. And in front of me, on the side of the road, on the sidewalk, I saw the weirdest sight. There was a half a dozen pregnant girls, full-term pregnant, and they're waddling down the sidewalk. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. And I looked, and Tom was in his black sunglasses, leading them like a mama duck and a baby duck. And I looked, I stopped, what the hell? That's not something you see every day. So then later on, I called him and said, hey man, was that you that I saw? He was on 8th Avenue? Yeah, that was our PE. I said, well, every day, for PE, they can't really be doing jumping jacks. We go down to the corner store and we get some chips and drinks and we come back. I thought I was going crazy. I saw you walking with those girls following you. I thought something was going on I didn't know about. But that was anyway. I just want to tell you that you already know. Well, I'm a special person. How smart he was.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention that for me personally, I lost a good friend. Probably one of the most intelligent, witty, and generous spirit person that I know. And we don't always realize what we got through God. And it really sucks. I just want to know that Thomas tested me lies because of his humble heart. He wasn't arrogant. Smart but not arrogant. Compassionate but not condescending. Never patronizing. But for some reason, he would elicit the biggest backlash from those that he brought the truth to, and they have to serve in position of authority in our city. So not only have I lost a dear, humble friend with that good heart, and as you all might well know, but the city of Fort Worth, the city I love, my hometown, there's a big hole in it as far as the civic activists and actually able to affect change and elicit response. And I've always thought that if you're not pissing somebody off, then you ain't doing that well. Thomas had a propensity to be able to piss off some powers that be, which he didn't deserve. Anyway, love you, Thomas. Daniel's director. He loves scenes. And we got our work cut for us. Because it's up to us to continue his legacy, each in our own way, in many different areas. And we love you, Thomas.
I just want to thank Thomas for believing in me. I was really scared, and then he reached out and said, I believe you. I know this happened to you, and I'm going to stand with you. And you don't even know how exciting that was for me to feel that. So thank you, Thomas, because I called my husband and said, there's a guy online saying Sundance behavioral, and he's writing about how bad they are, and he's standing up for us. And when you're so, and you are, and you don't feel like anybody sees you, and somebody just takes your hand and just says, I'll fight you, I'm going to stand with you. It's such a powerful moment, and I hope that I can pass that on. And I hope that I can see somebody else, pass that on. Because since I've met him, So I just want to thank people who aren't afraid, because he went up and he spoke for us, and he would say, please come down. And that's when I met you, Angelica. That was my first time to come out in face of fear, and you were there. So thank you for being there for that day. I didn't know it would be the last time. But I'm proud of you because you stood that day too. And I was proud to meet you, and I was proud to meet Thomas, and I'm grateful for meeting you guys. So thank you.
I'm going to tell you, I tried to stick real close to that about Thomas, but I'm talking to you as a sister. I could tell more stories than Adrian can tell, tons of stories. My sister tell you stories that I can't tell. Tom loved, and he did a 3 showing again, and he loved the family so much. He didn't know how to help. I know he's been on the big agenda of exposing people that are wrongful, but I also need to share with you that there was a lot of good politicians, and there are a lot of good police officers. And Tom did have a relationship with them. He wasn't just kind to the wrongdoers. He wasn't just kind to the criminals. I don't know why I feel like in my heart to share this with you, but on Thursday before his passing, he stopped at my house, which was okay. I say my door is always open. But there was a weird truck in my driveway, which was very unusual. And so he politely texted me, and I didn't see it. It happened to be a former police officer that we're mutual friends with. We've been friends with them for approximately 16 years. We've met him at different levels of life, doing different things, sometimes being closer, sometimes not. Well, I had been having problems with my air conditioner, and this gentleman, it's a friend of mine, stopped by. I go to get my phone to show him a video about something that Dahmer did recently. We had been talking about Manuel Mata and Carolina, and I wanted to, he said, I know what Carolina is, and we talked. Now, this person is totally to the right of Tom, and he's very active. He actually didn't realize that we had had encounters with Thomas and didn't recognize him in the past weeks. The conversation that went on for 2.5 hours in my living room between myself, my brother, who's John, was very hard to do because they opened each other's eyes. Okay? So just like anything else in life, something to learn to take. And I think that that's what Tom tried to do, step by step. By each living, by each child he touched, every stranger, talk to everybody, and politically, and probably best friends, grown up and seen grow as a young boy, our sheriff. He knows how to have a conversation with them on his Christ. He knows how to love them. And he knows how to tell them that meant if he didn't get to spend time with Adrian and he wasn't here with us as our family, that's how it was. Now, Tom will cook you a beautiful little meal, but most of the time, whatever was Tom's meal was family. Yeah. Always telling me about each and every one of you, what he was doing, what was going on, why it was happening, and how he was doing. And I said, slow down, I'm not at your point. I believe in this stuff, and I'll get there when I'm ready. So when that time will come, I call him up. A lot of times I didn't get an answer. I understand why. Last few years, he's busy. He's really busy. In the last few months, I actually, myself, had been through some challenges of police. I had some questions and problems with that. I had watched Chandler, and I had been trying to get in contact with him to learn something. So I said, oh, I know Chandler. Next thing I know, they were, doing some. But when my brother left the house on that Thursday, he started to walk away, and I went out the door and I opened the desk and I said, hey, I wanted to give you a hug. So he came back and my son, he left my thumb around me, and he went on without a sweater. I know that he had not felt good. He hurt his back for one of probably the first time ever. She tells me he didn't do a whole lot of stuff. Saturday he spent some time doing some business and taking care of some things. Sunday, of course, he went out for some work. Monday he came back, did his normal usual thing. Kind of was avoiding me. So I knew he was up to something. He had something to do. He didn't say, hey, there's a city council meeting this Tuesday, and I'm going to, this and that. So we all do things, we come and go, and this and that. We really didn't see each other after that Thursday for a while. And so later to find out that he did 2 meetings in those months. City council meeting, and like today, was one of his life. Tom didn't use that word very much. But in the last 4 years, he used the word love. He said it's people that hear about, and he definitely shared it and expressed it. And so, like you said, all his heart was filled, and it led him, and he had a comfortability. He had peace. I know he's pretty mad that he didn't last at least a few more months. And I know there's a bunch of untied business that everybody has a broken piece that we can't fill. We don't know. We have something shocking. How are we going to get through it? But one step in front of the other. I'm going to leave you with the saying that Tom said a lot. It's kind of funny. It just popped up. It was one of the first things that he said. It was a joke. Different stages in Tom's life. He started out in life being called Tommy by his Italian name. And then, as he got a little older, his name was Tom. When he started maturing, he decided he was going by his real name, Thomas. And I think he's filled all those shoes. But he would always say, peace I leave you, my peace I give. And it's strong for him. And that's all he ever wanted someone to do. He just wanted somebody to plus our food? No.
Gentlemen, move your hats, and it's all about our heads. Lord, thank you for Thomas and everything he's done for us and how he's touched each and every one of us lives. Lord, bless his food to the nourishment of our bodies, our minds, and soul. In your precious name we ask these things. Amen.
That's where I was headed.
You know you got a big extended family. You know you got a big family.
Oh my Lord. So you could say you were an incredible speaker. And I heard about you from Thomas, because I've been to prison, so we had long conversations about homeless, prison, work on the streets, and
Like, 3 minutes isn't a lot unless you're championship in public speaking. You could ask for that. He turned it in.
Well, we're leaving? We're leaving? Huh?
Yeah, somebody recently wrote an article that said Chandler had allegations.
Rest in paradise, my G. Thank y'all for watching with me. All the good things y'all said. Hope I can make them proud.